Good afternoon. This is a Mother's Day talk from a mother, a homeopathic mother to many of you. I thought this would be a good time for us to talk about ourselves. So tell me, what kind of questions would be in people's minds, especially the women who want to become homeopath or who are studying to be a homeopath or who are homeopaths already. So what kind of things we come to? What kind of problems do we face? I don't know if you know me. I am Dr. Vishpala and I've been practicing for about 44 years now with grown children and a good career, so on. So I began with what they say is a little silver spoon, homeopathic spoon in my mouth. My mother, as some of you may be aware, was Dr. Sarla Sonawala, a well-known homeopath and teacher in her time. So she was in our homeopathic college at Vishpala, CLB, as a vice principal for many years. So in that sense, I was born when after which she became a homeopath. So we were very close, and being only daughter, only child, and being a homeopath. So today we will discuss more about a mother and who is a homeopath, right? Early on in life, I realized that you do not have just one kind of a person. You have many personas. So when I would go for a seminar, girls would come up to me, especially girls. They would come up to me, ma'am, we heard your talk 5 years ago when I was a student in my final year. Inspired me so much to be a good homeopath and how to face life. So on and so forth. So very early, you realize that you had to be not only a woman, a professional, a homeopath, doctor, and a mother, a wife, a homemaker, and most importantly, groom yourself as to be an icon for the younger generations. So no, it's not always easy to do all these roles because only a woman has so many roles. And let's begin right from education, right? If we are still in India, we still have Indian families who are not very keen. If there's a choice between a a boy studying and the daughter studying, they would give the chance to the boy. So right from there, you have to fight that you want to study. So your basic education you may get. Then if you say professional, there are lots of obstacles. What would those obstacles be? There would be obstacles like one, why does a girl have to study? Finally, she has to learn everything about the house. If you study, you will not learn. So you have to make a kind of commitment that yes, you will do it. Then, why do you want to be a professional? Then you have to show your passion. It will finally always be on you. Nobody says a woman's life is very easy. It is difficult, but we are much better off than we were some generations ago. But I think in India overall, we women have had a little bit better than the American woman also. The American woman got a voting right much after the Indian woman, right? Okay, so yes, we have to learn how to do cooking and so on, along with our academics. And earlier, I used to be a big woman's liver, so I would object to this. If my brother didn't go into the kitchen, I would not cook, and so on. But today, I feel that if we learn that part early in life, then later on, it's much easier to balance and work on both the elements. So after the graduation, then you want to do post graduation. Then they put your foot down because finally time, tide, and physiology waits for no woman or no man. So we have to, yes, get married, move on with life. But our goal should be focused, always focused. And no, yes, you cannot say, I'm after marriage, I will take some time off, have a child, and then get back. Because this getting back into profession is always very difficult. If you have 5 years gap, then you never quite catch up. So you can reduce it a bit. I have many friends who, you know, only did one time practice for some time before they did it twice. Or you can cut down and adjust some hours, come back. The big advantage of being a woman, especially a homeopath, is that you can cut your day. So you don't work 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 7 as today's girls work, but you can work 9 to 12, 12:30, come home for 2 3 hours, be with the child, then again practice. So that kind of a thing is a big boon to have a smooth running family life, a home, and a practice. Correct? What other questions would you like? What other thing would you say? That yes, men would should play equal role. Well, I don't think equal role is uh, ever going to happen, because God has designed two different sexes a little bit differently. And if you see, except for exceptions, I know many men who run a very good house, do very good cooking, but the percentage is very, very low. And women can multitask much more. You must have all seen so many comparisons and jokes also made about the woman's brain and the man's brain. The book from Mars and Venus are two different planets. Yes, so we have to bear some things in mind, because it has been made and we have no much say in how the originals were. If we didn't have all that, then the woman wouldn't be bearing the child. So you have to have some differences. So yes, everything has to go at a reasonable age. Marriage should happen reasonably, maybe not as early as the earlier times, but more or less equally. And what are the real difficulties you will face? So, how will you balance all? Can you do all together? Should you do one after another? Should you give a break? No, I am very definitely sure that you should not give a break in your practice. Start your practice after marriage, after graduation, as fast as you can. And then you, so that one is already somewhere set, get married. If you can, you're lucky enough to have a house which is running with your in-laws. Yes, you have to put a ego a little bit down. But it is who else can love a grandchild and be so responsible except for a grandmother. So if there are two women in the house, there are some bartan clashing, but also some good things can happen if we are quite aware of these various roles. Like I had to once tell a woman, how often you thank your mother-in-law for looking after the baby? She said, no, why? Sometimes I buy her for a birthday gift. No, you must know that a paid help will never take that much care as your own child's own grandmother. But we have to be grateful for that. We cannot think that we are doing them a favor, right? They are. And so if we say a little bit thank you, they will do 100 times more. And little clashes, no problem. Then, more importantly, I remember still that I was very clear that I want to practice from day one, never stop. So then I had to plan like and buy a house which was amenable to have one clinic in it. So it took me a lot of begging, borrowing, stealing, whatever it is, but I insisted on buying a house conducive to that. It is no good sitting on the dining table practicing, with adjustments, with disturbances. No good. And it doesn't give that kind of a feel of a clinic. And finally, a patient and you both must feel in command that you're a doctor, not that, oh, somebody's come, oh, I have to attend to my food or something. No, it doesn't. You have, when you are doing it, you'll have to compartmentalize your life and do it all so that each compartment more or less is watertight. When you're practicing, think only of that, except in an emergency. When you're with the child, don't entertain your patients. So these kind of compartments have to be made. So as I was telling you, I bought a house where first you walked in, there was a passage and a room opened out into this. So between these two, I carved out a waiting area, a small compounding, and a cabin. So its patients did not walk into your house. So for them, it was like a clinic. Your family can walk in through the waiting room and go inside. So it was first that, then after that came the hall and the kitchen and a bedroom. So that was quite kind of separate, not through it. So it had done lot of hunting to find such a kind of a house, but we had taken that kind of trouble because I wanted one time clinic always to be in the house. I still remember as I would have a cradle in the room, in the cabin when she was very, very small. And I would make sure that later on she went down to the garden and with the maid at the time of my clinic. So that they were kind of divided. My evening clinic was in the house and the morning clinic was in Santa Cruz, another area. What other questions would you have? Yes, we must bear in mind that sometimes the uh, just a sec. So sometimes what will happen? The battery was going low. Sorry. So sometimes what will happen is that yes, our career graph may not be quite as smooth or as curvaceous as the man. There will be some little few uh, give and takes we'll have to do. For example, I did not take many of for outside station seminar or out country seminar. So yes, in that sense, your career graph was a little bit different from the man's career graph. We have to make these adjustments. I did many of my postgraduate studies, like my MD, then my fellowship one, now fellowship two, a little bit later in life. But we can still, what I want to today convey to you is that we can still have a very fulfilling life on every count, including practice, including a nice home, including children, including dogs, and you can look after them, and your practice and your group. So, if I could just even inspire one, two of you to continue always working, even at a reduced rate. I know some people work for 3 hours or 2 hours once a day for some years till the children grow up, and then they go on to twice a day. But if you've stopped completely, then catching up, to my mind, is a little more difficult. So today I didn't want to discuss any homeopathy with you. I wanted to discuss life and living, basically, especially as a woman homeopathic. Thank you so much.
One moment. I didn't get that. Could you try again?
हेलो, 20 मिनट हो गया तो मैं सोचा बंद करूं, तो अभी बोला कि आपको श्योर एंड करना है. एंड करूं ना? ओके.